Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Part 1 of our Mock Draft Monday is over. It's time for part 2 of Mock Draft Monday with Jonathan Osborne of the Sixth Man Show. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. It is June 19th, 2023. This is part 2 of our Mock Draft Monday special. My name is Philip Rostenreich. I'm the site expert and editor over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. If you missed it, part 1 of our Mock Draft Monday happened in our previous episode on our feed, on YouTube, wherever. This is part 2. I haven't decided. I'm recording this after I recorded the whole thing and decided to split it into 2 parts. So I don't know where we're starting. Let's find out together. It's time for part 2 of our Mock Draft Monday special. Let's move on with the 7th pick then, Indiana on the clock. I'm going to take who I would take at number 6, Ausar Thompson. I really like this kid. I think that he is already projects to be a really strong defender. He's already a pretty good playmaker. And we didn't get to see enough of that because Amen had the ball in his hands a lot more than he did. I do think that jumper is going to come around. It may not be elite by any means, but I think that he is a better jump shooter than he's shown. I think that will continue to develop. And I just think he's a great cutter. I think he just does a lot of other really little things where if he isn't the star, he ends up being like a bigger Jalen Suggs almost. Just seems like I love that he stepped up big in the OTE finals. I think that means something. I don't ignore when players play well in pressure moments. He was the finals MVP in OTE. Like, to me, that's a big sign that he's a gamer, that he's going to compete. And I mean, I'm hoping that he's there at 6. I think he is the swing that you take if you're this Magic team because he just checks all those boxes for you.
I will say, if it wasn't Jarris for me at 6, Ausar would definitely be the next. I kind of went back and forth between those guys for all of the reasons that you just mentioned. When we talk about Amen with the shooting issues, Ausar showed a little bit more potential there, and I definitely am more of a believer on him being able to develop a 3-point shot as opposed to his twin brother. So I would not be mad at that pick whatsoever at 6.
All right. You're up now at 8. We have the Washington Wizards, who, of course, did the Bradley Beal trade today. I'm curious who you have with the Wizards taking at 8, and then I'll have a follow-up question on that one as well.
Yeah, effectively, like starting their rebuild today, I guess. I know, I mean, that probably means that are they going to try to re-sign Kuzma? I mean, from an asset management standpoint, maybe. But you have to think maybe they'll be considering moving Porzingis as well. So starting the Washington Wizards rebuild here, I guess, in 2K terms, I'm going to take Anthony Black, point guard. Even before Bradley Beal was traded, Anthony Black was a guy that was mocked there a lot. Really special passer, really special defender as well. Good size for a point guard, kind of sneaky athletic. You don't see it in all of his highlights, but it is capable of making some pretty nice highlights. But yeah, I think Washington starts their rebuild with Anthony Black.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Anthony Black. I think he suffered the most from college's poor spacing, and especially Arkansas just had no spacing. Like Nick Smith, not a great shooter. They really needed guys to kind of fit him. He's already a really good defender. I think he's a guy, there's a lot of reports that the Magic would be interested in him. Would not surprise me if the Magic take him at 6, just straight out. Would not surprise me if the Magic try to move down and get him. Like I have Washington as one of my teams that I think the Magic might try to play around with and might try to grab somebody with. And so Yeah, I'm definitely very, very interested in Anthony Black. I think that's a really good pick for Washington, especially considering how they've shifted. I think beforehand I had them taking Taylor Hendricks was kind of my favorite pick for them. But I definitely think now that they're moving away from the Bradley Beal era, I think Anthony Black is definitely on the board for them. So at number 9, then for Utah. Oh, before I do that, Washington's been a team, now that we know that Washington's kind of open for business, I definitely think that they're a team that's trying to move up now, trying to like get into that 3 to 6 range. Honestly, I think they're a team that's going to try and deal with Portland to get to give them Kristaps Porzingis, perhaps to try and give Dame someone that he can play with. I think that I've had Washington on my list of teams that the Magic would trade down for if they don't want like the star with that pick and to get like an Anthony Black or a Taylor Hendricks. This is about the range where I think the Magic would trade down from 6. Do you see anything, and I'll open up Utah and perhaps Dallas at 9 and 10. Do you see anything there for the Magic to maybe trade down for there?
Yeah, I like the idea of Washington. Myself, I'm not really great at proposing trades. I was definitely not a GM in my previous life. But if we're talking about a team that's just trying to acquire a ton of shooting, and if Washington is seemingly looking to blow things up, if you're just moving back from 6 to 8 and you're able to acquire a guy maybe like a Corey Kispert, who is proven to be a solid shooter, I don't know that I would totally hate that. And just looking at some of those other teams like Utah, like Dallas, I mean, Dallas, it seems like their number one priority right now is building around, Luka and Kyrie. I don't know that they're going to be interested in giving up assets to try to trade up for a rookie at this point. Utah interests me as well, but I think it would probably be a little bit harder because they just have so many assets over there right now.
They have so many draft picks.
Probably going to be harder to convince them to part ways with a valuable piece to move up a few spots.
I will say this. During the Locked On mock draft, when I made my trade that everyone was upset with me about, I had another deal on the table, and it was with Washington. And so I've kind of been pitching this idea, like floating the bubble out to people. It was essentially like 6 and OKK or 6 and stuff. I just say 6 and stuff for 8. And Daniel Gafford. And I was offered at various points Denny Avdia. I was offered at various. I tried to maybe push for Kispert, but they didn't seem super keen on that. And so I know my big thing when I talk about trades is find a framework. Find something that makes a little bit of sense, and then all you need to do is fill in the details. 6 and stuff for 8 and Gafford. Like that fills 2 needs for the Magic. They trade back in the draft, so they still get that bite at the apple. Not like a deep bite at the apple, but they still get a draft pick, and they get a quality backup center. Like maybe not anyone that's going to blow you away, but as I've said a million times, Wendell Carter is going to miss 15 to 20 games a year. You just have to live with that at this point until he proves otherwise. Gafford can start those 15 to 20 games and isn't going to kill you. And it's going to be solid. It's going to be solid enough. You don't want him starting maybe a whole season, but for 15 to 20 games to hold the ship steady, he'll do the job. And so to me, there is something there. There is something. I don't know if it's something real. There's a framework for me. And so honestly, like, I don't know how you feel about this. I think there's a better chance the Magic move down from 6 into this range. And I think Washington is a prime trade target. Move down from 6, and again, 6, then there is a chance that they move up into the top 3. I think there's a better chance of that happening, them just not being like enamored enough with Ausar Thompson, not being enamored or thinking like, hey, Anthony Black's actually the guy we want. We don't think, he's going to be there at 8. Let's grab an extra asset and grab the guy we wanted anyway. So I think I'd watch that area. That's all I would say. I don't have any inside information. Obviously the Magic don't leak anything, but my instinct tells me there's something there if they want something to happen. Let's take a quick break from our Mock Draft Monday special with Jonathan Osborne of the Six Man Show to tell you a little bit about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is simply daily fantasy made easy. There's no better way to explain it. Daily fantasy games today can be so complicated with the salary caps, with the scoring system. Nobody likes to play them. And really, you're just playing, hoping that you get your money back. Well, that's not how PrizePicks works. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do is pick 2 to 6 players, determine whether they'll get more or less than their projection, and you can win up to 25 times your money. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch, including NBA, MLB, PGA, college football when it starts up in a couple months, soccer, WNBA, NASCAR, the whole gamut. You can find what you're looking for. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's really that easy. They offer safe and fast withdrawals. They're currently in operation in more than 30 states, including here in Florida, as well as Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports today. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON and sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. And now back to our Mock Draft Monday with Jonathan Osborne. I'm up at number 9 with Utah. I'm going to take Taylor Hendricks with that pick. Utah just loves these kind of athletic guys. They were fine playing Lauri Markkanen at the 3 a little bit last year. They got Walker Kessler. So just giving them that big front line, big playmaking front line, I think is really, really good. I really, really like Hendricks. I think that Hendricks would be a great fit for Orlando if they wanted to grab him there. But I think he does a lot of really good things there. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Unless you have something to say about Hendricks, who do you have at 10?
So I'm trying to remove my bias right now because whatever I do at 10 will affect what the Magic can do at 11. But
do what I did with 5. Like take someone and then pull the hypothetical on me here.
Yeah, no, I just think Dallas is a team who for the last couple of seasons has really been looking for a true center. They tried a little bit with Kristaps Porzingis, and then it was Christian Wood. Obviously Dwight Powell has been there for quite some time. I think this is their opportunity to get their center of the future in Derek Lively. A big guy, incredibly defensively rim protector. Offense might need a little bit of work there. There's quite a bit to be desired there. But on a team where you have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, you're not exactly hurting for offense. Now, it kind of remains to be seen whether or not Kyrie will be there, next season. But Derek Lively, if they keep that pick, I know this is another team that we're talking about potentially moving that pick. But if they keep it, I think Derek Lively makes a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, and I think he definitely does too. Even if they end up, certainly, I think regardless, like they need a center, and having a rim runner to put next to Luka Doncic, having a rim protector, he's raw. But like I watched his tape this weekend as well. He reminds me a lot like of Jaren Jackson Jr. Maybe not the shooting of Jackson Jr., but the way that he defends the paint. Even a bit of his over-eagerness to defend the paint and go for blocks. Like he was in foul trouble, like Jaren Jackson Jr. was at Michigan State. But he looks really good. I think he's a really solid player. I think he's definitely an option for the Magic at 11 as well. I'm picking at 11. I think I'm picking the obvious one. I think every mock draft when he is available here, I'm taking Grady Dick. They need the shooter. They need the shooting. If he's the best shooter in the draft, don't overthink it. Take the best shooter in the draft. And look, Grady Dick is, I think, more than just a shooter. I think he can shoot on the move. I think he's super, super smart. He is bigger. He's like a bigger version of JJ Redick. I've seen a lot of people question whether he'll be able to defend. And really it's not so much that can he defend, because I think he's a really smart positional defender off the ball. The question is going to become, he's going to be the guy everyone targets on defense. But he's big. He's not like JJ Redick, who is 6'4". He's 6'8". Like he is a big dude plus wingspan. He may not be a fantastic athlete or a fantastic defender, but I think he's going to hold his own better than people give him credit for. And, I know I've been saying that I think I might have Hawkins ahead of him. I think Grady Dick's size, I caught myself there. I think I think that helps put him over the edge there.
So my plan worked. I sabotaged the Dallas Mavericks. I get Grady Dick. No. I do think that Derek Lively is a great fit for the Mavs at 10. And yeah, Grady Dick at 11, like right now, I'm not so concerned about who we take at 6, because like it very well may just be like a home run swing that you take at 6. But if you take a risk at 6 and you end up with Grady Dick at 11, I don't know how anybody couldn't view that draft as a massive success for the Magic.
Yeah. And like I said, my goal on draft night is just get me a shooter. If you come away from this draft with Grady Dick, the best, arguably, but probably the best shooter in this draft, you've had a good draft night. It doesn't matter. I'll pull the rug on you then. Let's say Grady Dick's off the board. Maybe Hendricks is there. Maybe Lively's there. Let's assume that, I don't want to assume that. Let's say Grady Dick's off the board. Who do you take if you're the Magic?
Yeah, I'm going Jordan Hawkins. It's okay. A pretty easy answer for me, just because regardless of what you do at 6, I do feel like there's a good amount of risk there, kind of whoever you take, whether it is Hendricks or Whitmore or Asar or Jarris Walker. Like you're risking something with those guys there. At 11, whether it's Dick or in this case, it would be Jordan Hawkins, like, what you're going to get from those guys, especially those guys not only being good set shooters, but both of them showing a lot of potential, especially Jordan Hawkins as movement shooters. The concern with me with Jordan Hawkins is really just defensively at first, until he has the ability to get into an NBA strength and training program, just kind of being a slighter guy, being bullied by some of the more physical guards in the league. But as soon as he fills out, he's got the instincts, he's got the lateral quickness to stay in front of a lot of these guys. So for me, it would be Jordan Hawkins. And I do see a little bit of like playmaking potential there with Jordan Hawkins, where Grady, it's right now, at least it's more like his ability to attack closeouts that I really like outside of the shooting. And I think Hawkins has the potential to be a little bit more than that offensively.
Yeah, and I think that's why I leaned Hawkins a little bit more. But like, I'm with you. I think there's a lot more questions of what Hawkins can be above that. What you're getting from Grady Dick. Like I said, he honestly reminds me of he's not as much of a movement shooter as JJ, but the way people talk about him compared to the way that he actually plays, he reminds me of like early Stan Van Gundy, JJ Redick, where he understands defense and you can play him a lot more because he gets that defense, gets defense at such a high level already. If Grady Dick's not there, I think I take Hendricks or Lively, the two guys that we've already taken already. But the way this has worked out with Jarris Walker at 6, I almost kind of view Jarris Walker as my safe pick. So I would not be surprised if that's the direction they go, that if at 11, the Magic are the team that takes Bilal Coulibaly. Or Coulibaly. I don't know the correct way to pronounce his last name. I apologize. I've heard Coulibaly. I've heard Coulibaly. Yeah. The dude is 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. Big, long dude. Started on the kind of junior team for Nets 92 for the team that Victor Wembanyama was on. But by the end of the season, he was like indispensable to their playoff run. He's an improving jump shooter. It's a work in progress. Super, super raw, but super long. Great defender, does all the hustle things that everyone likes already. Again, played well in the playoffs, played well under pressure. Just got to find ways to develop the shooting and kind of the skill stuff along a little bit quicker. But I think he made some really, really important strides this year. And, who knows, maybe he's a player that you can stash overseas for a year, let him get better, and then bring over. I know that scares Magic fans at 11. So maybe I shouldn't suggest that, but he is very much a Magic type player. So I would keep an eye on Bilal Coulibaly. Let's take another quick break so I can tell you a little bit about Ibotta. The average Ibotta user earns $120 per year in real cash back. So if you're watching your closet grow after purchasing all of the season's latest trends, how about also watching that cash back grow with each purchase? That's what Ibotta is good for. You can earn cash back on every shopping trip. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. A typical basket of groceries was more than $50 more expensive at the end of 2022 than the beginning of the year due to inflation. You could earn 2.5 times that in cash back from Ibotta, even more depending on how much you use it. Ibotta gives you real cash back, not points. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you get real cash back. You can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. You can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers too when you start with Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying it by using the code LOCKED when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code LOCKED. That's Ibotta, Ibotta, in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKED today. Let's burn through these last 3 picks in the lottery. Who do you have at 12? Who's picking after the Magic? I don't even know anymore. Oklahoma City.
So I would really, we've heard a lot of like Koulibaly rumors there, but I'll go Cason Wallace, point guard out of Kentucky. Great defender already. He's a guy that, if the 3-point shooting was a little bit better, I would really consider, for the Magic at 11.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Reminds me a little bit of Tyrese Maxey, but Maxey was a better shooter at the college level. At 13 for Toronto, I'm going to take Kobe Buffkin from Michigan. They're about to lose their point guard in Fred VanVleet. They're about to lose another guard in Gary Trent Jr. So I think helping that guard front, especially a point guard, is really, really important for them. So I'll take Buffkin. And final pick is to you, sir. New Orleans, who are you taking?
I'm going to go with Keontae George. I don't know that I necessarily love the fit in New Orleans for the Pelicans. But I just see a guy with like real star potential. If everything goes right for Keontae George, like the talent is there. With the question marks, around Zion, like if you decide to move on from him, does that really like view the way that the Pelicans view their current team? Do they just try to retool and build around Brandon Ingram, or do they just decide to blow everything up? And I know there's talks that the Pelicans have, had internal discussions around Zion Williamson, which really means nothing. Internal discussions are just that. Like somebody brings up an idea and be like, hey, of course we're not going to trade Zion Williamson. That would be crazy. But some of the off the court, concerns with him seem to be a bit real in the fact that he's had a tough time staying on the floor. But yeah, if they decide to pivot, I could see them taking a swing on a guy like Keontae George and his talent.
Yeah. And he's a guy that I think a lot of us had going to the Magic at 6, like early in the season. So big late season swoon for him, but guy can score at all 3 levels. Again, if he makes good decisions, he's definitely a player to keep an eye on at that spot. We've gone through 14 picks already. Who do you have I don't want to say in that next group, but who else left or do you have on kind of the Magic's list? We've already talked a little about Koulibaly. Is there anyone else left on your list for the Magic specifically that you have left?
Well, probably not in like the immediate range. At earlier in the kind of pre-draft process, he was mocked in like the mid-teens. Now he's like in the early 20s. But another Michigan guy, Jet Howard, shot the lights out, at Michigan. And if the Magic are just in love with these Michigan guys, and for whatever reason they're not in love, if Grady
Michigan
Dick is there at 11, or for whatever reason they decide to pass on Jordan Hawkins, which is another guy who has fallen in recent mock drafts, I could see a guy like Jet Howard, being the kind of guy that the Magic are looking at.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely have him on my list. Obviously, the Magic need shooting. I would also keep an eye on kind of versatile wings that the Magic like. Leonard Miller from the G League Ignite did a lot of the dirty work for that G League Ignite team. Made some really good strides this year. And also Alabama's Noah Clowney. Stats aren't going to look good on Noah Clowney, but he did all the defensive grunt work at center next to Brandon Miller, made Brandon Miller look really good. So I keep an eye on some of those guys as well. But, my instinct on this draft has been the talent really starts to fall off at around 12, 13, 14 as far as what the Magic are looking for. Obviously, they have a pick at 36, and there'll be some interesting guys there. But I think the Magic got really lucky in this draft to kind of get the guys that they need at this juncture almost. So that's kind of where I'm at. Jonathan, I want to thank you for coming on and doing this exercise with us and kind of taking a look at how this draft can go out. We talked about a lot of the prospects, hopefully got everyone ready for a busy week. Tell us what you guys are up to over at the Sixth Man Show, and what to look forward to this week for draft week.
Yeah, so really, so we'll have an episode coming out today, Monday as well. We did a similar exercise where we really just went through, all right, if the Magic were at this pick, who would the guy be? Obviously, if it was one, it was Victor Wembanyama, but we went through the whole exercise. All right, if Victor is gone and the Magic are at 2, who would it be? Just in case, they do trade up, we wanted to kind of, go through some of those options there. But besides that, we'll have an episode coming out the morning of the draft, Thursday morning. But for the draft, we're just going to be at Amway with everybody else. We're going to be sitting in section 106 like we do every year. So if you're in the area, if you're going to come through the draft party, stop by section 106. We'd love to say what's up to everybody. And honestly, like I said at the top of the show, I'm just excited to get this over with so we know who's on the team and we can stop speculating and start looking forward to Summer League and then next season.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously free agency will not be too far behind. I think we're expecting the Magic to be very busy in free agency as well. I'll definitely stop by and say hi to you. I'll be at the Amway Center on Thursday for draft night. Very, very excited for that to kind of get this first piece of the puzzle in place. Jonathan, I want to thank you again so much for coming on today's show and entertaining us with this exercise as we always do, or as we try to do here on our Mock Draft Monday. But I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Football Channel podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. On our next episode of Locked On Magic for my everyday crew, we're going to be talking about what Jeff Weltman said during his pre-draft availability. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm sure it will be a whole bunch of word soup and nothing, but it could be something. Who knows? We'll read between some lines. It'll be great. We'll have that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. Be sure as well to subscribe to my subtext. I'll put my thoughts up on the subtext immediately after the press conference. It's a 10 a.m. press conference. So definitely subscribe to that earlier than later. Now's the time to do it. You get your two-week free trial. Join subtext.com/LockedOnMagic. Join subtext.com/LockedOnMagic. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, it's been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.